Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Tis the season, as you can see in the background. It's October and Halloween is upon us. And, well, all the ghouls and spirits and ghosts come out to play. Now, I have made a short and cute little compilation of the top 5 ghost perfumes that spirits love to wear when they come out to play. So you could say top 5 spirit perfumes, top 5 ghost perfumes. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already here on the tubes. You can also follow me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together there for extra perks. Thank you to my patrons who have pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week on my main Super Dacob channel. Go check me out over there as well. A lot of interesting content. So let's dive into the top 5 ghost and spirit perfumes. I'm coincidentally wearing limited edition Super Dacob Halloween merch from a couple of years ago. This one is no longer available, but something new might be coming your way. So keep an eye out for my merch. You might be surprised this Halloween. Okay, now you can get the merch at www.superdacob.com. Listen, the first perfume is really symbolic, and actually, had I made this video 1 year ago, this perfume would not have been in this list. But this year, it had to be. It had to be. My number 1 is Boudoir. Let me just come in as close as I can to y'all. By Vivienne Westwood. Eau de Parfum. Now, obviously, why is this in my top 5 ghost perfumes and spirit perfumes? Well, because Vivienne Westwood passed away December of 2022, late December of 2022. So, since she passed on into the other realm, this perfume now is officially the spirit perfume for me. Every time I smell Boudoir, I feel Vivienne Westwood right there with me. I actually just got chills right now talking about this, because when we filmed our movie together, Art Lovers Unite, Vivienne Westwood, Patrick John Thomas, and myself, when we shot the movie together, Vivienne was wearing Boudoir the whole day. She always wore Boudoir since the moment she co-developed it, right, for her brand. And I remember telling her at the end of our day of shooting together, I said, Vivienne, are you wearing Boudoir? And she said, yes, of course. I always wear Boudoir. And so it's such a special thing for me. Usually when you're reading about really important personalities from history, us perfume lovers, we try to find information in books, interviews printed online. We go to extra lengths to figure out what perfumes our favorite icons were using and wearing. And I'm one of those people. I love to know, what people that I look up to, what perfumes are they wearing? And it was such an interesting and amazing experience for me to actually discover and learn firsthand from Vivienne, smell it on her, talk to her about it. Like, such a special experience, not to have to read about it in a book somewhere, but I have that knowledge firsthand, and that she wore Boudoir. She wore her own perfume. And trust you me, just like Coco Chanel, nobody will ever look as good in a Chanel ensemble like Coco Chanel did. Same applies to Vivienne Westwood. Nobody wears Vivienne Westwood better than Vivienne Westwood. And same with Boudoir. That perfume on her, this perfume on her smells, and yes, I'm aware that I'm talking about her in the present tense, as if she were still here, but she is for me. It's Vivienne. And I'm letting you guys know right now, this is Vivienne. She worked on this. She loved this smell. She got super angry when behind her back, allegedly, her company allowed Coty to release other Vivienne Westwood fragrances that she did not approve of, and she got really angry about it and got them all discontinued except for Boudoir. And then Coty said, well, we're not making money like this. We need to keep releasing new perfumes under your name for it to be profitable for us. So if you're not going to let us do all of the flankers and all of the other, Libertine, Boudoir Garden, Let It Rock, Alice, Cheeky Alice. I mean, there's a lot of perfumes that were released under her name. If you don't let us do this, then we're not going to renew our partnership with you. So she said, then don't. And that's why Boudoir was discontinued. She said, listen, I'm all for making new perfumes, but I want to be the one who actually delivers a product that I believe in so that my customers can get a good quality product too. She said it in an interview once. She said, don't buy all my other perfumes are crap. Don't buy them. She said, this is the only one. You can find that, by the way, that interview. Her head was all shaved back then when she gave that interview. You can find that on YouTube. Boudoir is now an extremely spiritual and ghostly perfume because it echoes of Vivienne Westwood. We have tobacco in here, the infamous marigold that gives us that dirty, sexualized touch, the post-coital smell that Boudoir is so famous for. A dried up honey accord, a ton of English roses, Bulgarian roses as well, mixed in with powdery bubblegummy accords, like almost as if it were an orris root that has been sprinkled, like sprayed with an overdose of roses and then kind of made really dirty through that marigold. Marigold that has an earthy, green, soily type of smell, especially if you would kind of rub the leaves of the marigold or the petals and then you would smell your fingers, you would get a very, very soily, earthy, dark smell, even though most marigolds are famous for being this beautiful, sunny, orange, intense, saturated orange flower. It's such a spiritual perfume, and if you can get your hands on it, and there's a ton of vanilla in here, so it sweetens up as well as it dries down. This is why the color of the juice changes from a light pink color when it's brand new to a darker hue. This doesn't mean that the juice has gone bad. It just means that the vanilla in there is potent. So it was originally released by Lancaster, and then distribution was taken over by Coty. I think Coty did this one a lot of justice. However, now that Vivienne is no longer with us, maybe Coty will make a new deal with the Westwood Company, because maybe without Vivienne alive, the Westwood Company might just say, okay, Coty, make your flankers. Who knows? People do a lot of stuff for money. Allegedly. Everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged. That's my number one. Number two. Now, we got this very strange wall here. It's a magical wall. It's actually a gateway to another world. It opens up only on October 31st. And that's when we get access to the spirit realm, right over there. So here I am, gatekeeping, making sure, gatekeeping in a good way, not in a bad way, making sure that all the right spirits pass through, scent-wise. And so I am gatekeeping this so that by the 31st of October, when this wall magically opens, only the good spirits pass through. And I'm building up these perfumes to attract just the right spirits. That's the kind of idea of this background. But as you can see, it's already getting very kind of spiritual. All of these orange leaves are kind of fluttering and flowing up, and we got the cobwebs, and it's all thickening as Halloween approaches. It's almost like a forest, actually. You have to walk through a very, very thick forest. You got to go into the woods in order to reach this gate. And the gate is found inside Silver Woods. And that would be Bois d'Argent. That's my second one that I adore, darling. This one is super, super spiritual. Okay, this one blows my mind. So you can get these secondhand and as well if you're lucky. And that's what I kind of ordered them from time to time. secondhand, as was this bottle, because people, Dior's prices are insane, just like Chanel's. They've just upped the price for these yet again, and they're going to up them, I think, right before Christmas one more time. So we're talking about like $300, $400, $500 if you want to get the 250 ml bottles. I mean, it's insane. But anyway, Bois d'Argent. Now, Bois d'Argent is a perfume that was released in the early 2000s under the guidance of Hedi Slimane at Dior Homme. However, Hedi Slimane did not design the actual fragrances. He designed the bottle of the eau de colognes. The eau de colognes did not have the magnetic closure. This is just Dior kind of copying Chanel's. Les Exclusives, magnetic, anyway, whatever. But so this is the eau de parfum. I still have a couple of drops left of the original eau de cologne, which is also amazing, but very prone to going stale. But the eau de parfum is also really beautiful. Again, honey. And this is so fascinating that so many of the perfumes that I'm talking about today have honey in them. Honey attracts spirits and ghosts, you know, they love it because the bees work for their beehive, but they're all connected, that beehive mentality of all being one. There's a spirituality connecting all the bees. The honey nourishes them. Hence, the honey nourishes that energy bond that they have between them, and it nourishes the spiritual connection between them. And this is why usually fragrances that have particular honey in them really attract me as well. I know a lot of people don't like honey in perfumes. Honey can smell quite artificial, synthetic, sometimes bitter in fragrances. Some people really do not like honey. There's honey and honey, okay? The honey in here is gorgeous. And it almost feels like you're walking in a pine needle forest of Bois d'Argent literally means a silver forest or silver woods. And the pine needles are all silver and they're emanating this kind of almost lavendery, you know, they're like flocked. It's like every needle is flocked with little silver tiny needles. It's like super soft to the touch. And it almost has a lavendery accord, even though this is not a fougère perfume. This is not a lavender perfume. This is a honey. A powdery honey orris type of fragrance. It is very, very beautiful, very symbolic of the early 2000s, but also it's its own thing. You know, there's no perfume like it. There never was, and there hasn't been since. And thank goodness that Dior did not discontinue this one, because they have a tendency of discontinuing their special collection privée perfumes if they don't sell as much. You know, Bois d'Argent is one of their best sellers though, so all good. And Bois d'Argent is kind of our guide through this forest to reach the gate, the spirit's gate. And it guides us. It guides us to the point where we have to be in time and space in order for this transcendental transformation that we go through. Yes, very David Lynch. And speaking of David Lynch, this gateway is positioned in a very special part of our forest. It is surrounded by sycamore trees. And of course, where there are sycamore trees lined up, you know that there's also a gateway to the Black Lodge. But there's also a gateway to the White Lodge. IYKYK. If you know your Twin Peaks, you know what I'm talking about. And of course, then our third perfume was gonna have to be Sycomore by Chanel. In all its iterations at this point. Current version of Eau de Parfum, which I have here, is beautiful. They have reformulated it really nicely. It's starting to smell closer to what the Eau de Toilette used to be. Of course, if you can get your hands on an Eau de Toilette from 2007 of Sycomore, that's the holy grail. But their current extrait of Sycomore is also divine. Divine. Oh, man. Listen. Talk about ghosts and spirits. Sycomore is haunting. Haunting. And you have to spray this one on if you want to kind of enact, the hocus pocus of it all, the chant or the chant, in order to open the door between two worlds. There's poetry to it. There are things you have to say. There are formulas you have to conduct in order to access that gateway. And wearing Sycomore is definitely one of them. Sycomore is a vetiver-based fragrance. And the vetiver in here is one of the highest class vetivers you can find in perfumery. I mean, Chanel knows their stuff, okay? For lack of a better word. We go deep with Chanel. We go so deep, especially when they're using vetiver. Their vetiver, in perfumery, you can play with vetiver in a dry context, or you can go with a more expensive route and play with a wet, fresh vetiver that has been literally pulled out of the soil, still with the earth and soil hanging off of its roots, smelling of humidity and of forest. That's the vetiver you get in Sycomore. You get that wet accord more in the eau de toilette than you would in the eau de parfum. But, like I said, the current version of the eau de parfum is more eager to please the memory of the eau de toilette that used to be. So my batch code here is 7901. I believe that the batch codes have now entered the 9XXX realm, and soon to enter the 0 realm again. They repeat every 8 to 9 years. So we got the vetiver. The vetiver is that depth of the forest of the vetiver is mellowed down and softened ever so slightly by the violets. The violet accord in here is so delicate and subtle, but it's so masterfully utilized to balance out that vetiver so that you never really drown in that earth. You're not, in other words, you don't end up being buried up alive by Sycomore. That violet keeps the memory alive of the surface of the ground where the flower actually grows. So you're connected to the surface, but you're also underground when you're wearing Sycomore. It's the perfect perfume to be right between two realms, right here, and to step through that gate once it opens up. Of course, we also have the tobacco accord in here, which makes it a little bit more dense, deep, dark, brown hues. Soily, but grounded, looking towards the sun, even though it's a pitch black dark night, that black coffee, like the moonless, starless night. This is a perfume that I coincidentally think Bob would wear. Who's Bob, you might ask? If you know, you know. Sycomore is my number 3. Number 4 is an echo of a memory of times long gone. It is not only conceived as a perfume connected to the past, but this particular formulation and concentration of the perfume that I have chosen for my top 5 ghosts and spirits fragrances is actually not available in many countries worldwide. It's been discontinued almost everywhere. Just like a ghost, from time to time, you might see it pop up randomly in some countries, but it is no longer in production on a regular basis. It goes through this brand drops this perfume in this concentration, and then it's gone for 2 years. And then it reappears randomly, and then it's gone again. It's just perfect for this list. So, any guesses which one my number 4 is? Comment down below and thumb up this video if you're enjoying it thus far. And don't forget to subscribe. It means the world to me and to this little tiny channel. Here you go. Listen, let me tell you something about Shalimar Eau de Cologne. Yes, the eau de cologne, which is super rare, almost not in production anymore. This is the most ghostly and scary of all Shalimar concentrations. I'm not talking about the flankers, I'm talking about the actual Shalimar family, eau de cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum extrait. This one is in the true tradition of eau de colognes. You know, today we think that eau de colognes are much weaker, watered down concentrations as opposed to eau de toilettes, eau de parfums. But in reality, eau de colognes used to have a much heavier accord than their eau de toilette counterparts, for example, or their eau de parfum counterparts. Shalimar eau de cologne is a great example of this because it is almost fecal in its dry down. It is indolic. Okay, you don't get that in the soft, delicate extrait. You don't get that. You get hints of it in the eau de parfum, but not as deep, and also not in the eau de toilette. But the eau de cologne is decomposing almost. You know, it's the decay of a perfume. Shalimar eau de cologne is beautiful. When I speak about decay and indolics, I don't mean it in a negative way. I actually love it because of that reason. The eau de cologne really takes us to this gateway and is kind of showing us the process of the decay of a fragrance and of its lifespan as it's turning into spirit, as it's turning into ghost. Shalimar, of course, is also, you can check up the history of Shalimar and the gardens of Shalimar and how the Klein family was inspired by Shalimar to create this perfume in the 20s, which was also a callback to even older times. So it's a time travel machine, this fragrance. But in particular, in the eau de cologne, of course we have the guerlinade, we have that typical vanilla, but not so much of it because I've had this bottle for quite some time. You see how the juice has not turned dark, very, very dark as it did, for example, for Boudoir, or as it does for Chanel number 22 after 2 or 3 years that you have it. The vanilla really goes dark. The guerlinade in here is slightly different. There's a musky accord, a civety accord in here that goes poopy. Now, interesting that IFRA regulations, they rule Europe. They don't rule America. This is coincidentally one of the reasons I believe, this is just my speculation, why Shalimar eau de cologne is still available only in the States. I believe that they make this because of those regulations, because they can put some ingredients in here that make it so, so eau de cologne-esque for Shalimar standards that they would not be able to do in Europe. So, another ghost. Let's spray that on. Wow. Yeah. You know what? We're opening the gates, aren't we? Let me do a hint of Bois d'Argent. And we are going to add some Boudoir on this side. Just a smidge, because Vivienne is very potent. And now we have our stars aligning. Those stars align and a doorway opens. The fifth perfume is an amber accord. The fifth perfume, just the bottle alone, is the most symbolic, spiritual gesture you could have in perfumery, in my humble opinion. Any guesses what that would be? Well, I'm going to show you the original. And it's again another eau de cologne. Oh, by the way, Shalimar also has a smidge, the eau de cologne, smidge of honey in there as well. Coincidence, huh? I think not. Well, here goes, y'all. I have quite a few of these pebbles, these spirit pebbles in my collection. Check this out. This is the first iteration of Obsession in the eau de cologne concentration from the 80s in its original splash bottle. See, it says Cologne at the bottom. And also, these are the spirit pebbles. You have to put them all around here, the gate, these little pebbles to open the gate. That's the final key to the spirits. This is the 50 ml bottle as well. Here we have the 50 ml cologne as well in my collection. And of course, this one is really big. This is a 50 ml version, or is it a 30 ml version of the Pure Extrait de Parfum. See how different they are? There's no liquid left in this one. I do have a smaller one that does have perfume still in it, but I just bought this because of the design of the bottle. This is just so beautiful. Look how thick this glass is. Almost like, you know, it's like a container for spirits, you know? You open it and then the spirit kind of flies in, and then you can kind of seal it and catch the little spirit and have it here with you to take along. So this is the Extrait bottle, and this beautiful, beautiful glass design. Pierre Dinan designed this bottle. It's the same designer who also did Opium, Dolce & Gabbana. Oh man, you can still smell the perfume in here. So this has a twist stopper. You twist it and you lift it. And then we're gonna put a little bit here. Yeah, it's already all over. There's a lot of perfume on the nozzle. Whoa, oh man, okay. All right. Damn, listen, this is what I'm talking about. Oh, I could cry. Man, oh, okay, the green in this perfume, even though it doesn't look very green, it's such a green opening. It is a beautiful green grass opening that then sinks into amber, honey, vanilla, powder. Oh, it caresses you, it lulls you to sleep, but it's also like a nightmare. Oh man, it's an obsession. Really, it's obsessively good. And you have to be obsessed about ghosts if you want to connect with them and contact them. So of course, obsession had to be part of this game of finding a way to open the gateway on the 31st of October to the spirits, to the spiritual realm. And I do believe that these 5 are the perfect selection for the spirits and the ghosts. I'm going to be waiting here till this gate opens, keeping it safe. But until then, never forget to never give up on love. Thumb up this video if you liked it. Let me know your top spirits and ghosts perfumes down below in this Halloween season. And until next time, never forget to never give up on spirit love. Bye.